Tonight, hold on to your wallets. The Obamacare scams are about to begin. Homeland Security Committee member Pat Meehan will explain. And what does creating a website actually entail? We'll have a web designer here on set. You're looking at him right now. We're going to check with him throughout the show to see how long it takes to set up a website. Ladies and gentlemen, start your clocks. Hello and welcome to Justice. I'm Judge Jeanine Pirro. Thanks for being with us tonight. For weeks, we've been hearing about a malfunctioning website that virtually no one has been able to access. But what you haven't heard much about is the dark side, the underbelly of healthcare.gov. The truth? Millions of unwitting Americans like you are being teed up for identity theft and fraud by con men, criminals lying in wait for the mother lode for millions of you to sign up on that website. That is, once it's functional. And today, even the liberal New York Times admits the danger on their front page, quote, "Con men prey on confusion over the CARE Act. Fraud adds to troubles of the health program." But it gets even better. Even convicted felons can get the job as a navigator to enter information onto the malfunctioning website. A prior conviction for fraud? Check. A prior conviction for theft? Check. A prior conviction for identity theft? No problem. Welcome to healthcare.gov. And although the president, Congress, and their staffs and union members have gotten their Obamacare exemptions, no such luxury for us in the middle class. And as of today, over 4 million Americans have been told that they cannot keep their health care plans. This after our president promised for years that they could.
If you like your health care plan, you'll be able to keep your health care plan. Period. No one will take it away, no matter what.
But if you are a middle-class American and have lost your plan, the president's fix? Go on the website and shop around for a new plan. Except the website is broken. And how do you afford a new plan anyway, since it's estimated that the typical American family in 2016 will have to pay $20,000 more a year for their family's health care? If that middle-class family only makes $60,000 a year, how can they possibly pay for it? The president's fix? Check out the exchanges, the ones that are not up and running, and not to worry, you'll be eligible for substantial subsidies. But what if you're not? The end result? The middle class gets squeezed again. They and the country go backwards. Think about it. If insurance companies are paying doctors and hospitals Medicaid-like rates, then specialists and doctors at top hospitals will simply refuse to participate. And how do we give health care to an additional 40 million Americans, let alone pay for those additional 40 million, without any plan at all to increase the number of doctors or any kind of incentives to get more people to go to medical school? The only way? Squeeze the middle class again. And yet, Mr. President, you continue your pitch to them as recently as this week.
Your help to implement this law. I need your help to educate folks about this law. You need to keep knocking on doors and making phone calls and traveling all across your states.
Mr. President, with all due respect, what's the point of knocking on people's doors if no one can sign on to the website? And even more outrageous, Mr. President, you accused Republicans of putting a gun to the heads of Americans.
You don't negotiate by putting a gun to the other person's head. Or worse yet, by putting a gun to the American people's head by threatening a shutdown.
Mr. President, according to an explosive report, you knew and your administration knew that up to 75% of the people would not be able to keep their plans. And you knew this for 3 years as you continued to insist and proliferate your lie that everyone could keep their health plan if they liked it. Period. So, Mr. President, you object to your opponents of Obamacare and say that they negotiate by putting a gun to the American people's heads. Did you perpetrate a lie to the American people? Is that how you negotiate? My next guest predicted years ago that Obamacare would be a disaster, and he was right. With me, the man with the crystal ball, former Massachusetts Senator and Fox News contributor, Scott Brown. Good evening, Senator. How are you?
Great, Judge. How are you? Very nice opening. I enjoyed listening.
Thank you. Senator, the president was golfing again today while millions of Americans are losing their health care insurance. What's your reaction to that?
Well, listen, he can do whatever he wants, but the first thing he should do is fire, obviously, the people in charge of not only setting up the website, but overseeing the website, because it's broken and there's no accountability whatsoever. There's a complete breakdown of trust between the American people and the federal government, especially the agencies that are putting this together. And he needs to do more in that respect.
Well, you know, a lot of people are saying, you know, should Sebelius, you know, the head of Health and Human Services, should she be fired? My question is, why should she be allowed to keep her job? What has she done to prove to the American people or the president that she is worthy of collecting a paycheck?
Listen, she should be fired. There has not been anybody fired that I'm aware of after Benghazi, after the IRS issue, and now this and other things as well. Bottom line is you need to, obviously, it starts at the top. The trend starts at the top. And when you're not going to hold anybody accountable for making mistakes and doing really inappropriate things, misleading the American people, deceiving them. And you're right, I did say 4 years ago that this would be a train wreck, this would be a mess. It would not be good for Massachusetts or this country, that they were going to cut $500 billion from Medicare, that they're going to impose 18 new taxes. It was going to be this one-size-fits-all. And remember, I think, if I'm not mistaken, we won World War II in about 3.8 years, and yet it took about 3.8 years to get the website up. And that doesn't even work. So go figure. It's unbelievable what's happening here.
I want you to know that we have someone on set right now, and I told everyone to start their clocks, and he is creating a website as we speak. And hopefully before the end of the hour, we'll find out how long it really takes to build a website. Certainly not on the level that we need for Obamacare. But Senator, let's talk about the fact that an additional 40 million Americans have to be covered under this new Obamacare. How do we do that without adding doctors to the plans?
Well, you're right. Because of the changes, a lot of doctors aren't going to take these patients. With the cuts in Medicare, there's going to be a dramatic strain on nurses, hospitals, and doctors. They're just not going to take the patients. This is going to, I think, lead to a very serious breakdown in medical care as we know it, and really jeopardize our standing, especially in Massachusetts and other states that have fantastic health and medical care. It's going to put that at jeopardy. Bottom line is, you know, I can't even believe what's happening. It's really unbelievable. The letters I put on Facebook and Twitter, I said, please tell me if anyone has actually received the reimbursement or actually, you know, signed up. And I got 2 or 3 people saying, yeah, I got a check, yeah, I'm paying a little less. But everybody else, and I have 400,000 Facebook followers and 60,000 Twitter followers, and it was overwhelming, the amount of anger and frustration. I haven't seen anything like it since it was since my special election, actually.
Well, and you know, one of the things that we're going to be doing tonight is talking to some of the people, one woman in particular, who has lost her health care, and she has stage 4 breast cancer. Senator Brown, you know, as we go forward, hopefully we'll be able to call on you again. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Anytime, Judge. Go get them.
Right. And coming up, the numbers keep growing. Millions being dropped from their health insurance. We're going to hear from one of them next. And tonight's Insta poll. Should the president apologize for not telling the truth about Obamacare? Facebook or tweet me at Judge Jeanine. We'll read your answers later in the show.